Hey, welcome to CoachParker.org. I'm Coach Steve Parker, getting back to my KYA Coaches Clinic that I prepared for Keller Youth Association Football a few seasons ago and been giving that to those coaches. Just wanted to continue the presentation. I think this is uh, post 7 or 6, I can't remember, but this post is about parent communication. And this is probably the biggest area that coaches ask me about is how to communicate with parents, especially problem parents. And that problem parent issue always comes up if you don't have your parent meeting and set your expectations at your parent meeting. Uh, and that should occur before your first practice. You must hold a parent meeting and communicate to your parents your expectations, your rules, everything from absences, tardiness, who's going to get play time, how to talk to the coaches. I mean, you should have it very detailed about what you want your parents to do and how to act. And that way, there's no questions going forward with how they can communicate to you or deal with you and your other coaches and your team mom. You're just going to set the groundwork down first. I like to be very, very tough at my team meeting and my rules. That way you can kind of back off of those. And if you're kind of lenient at first, it will not go well. I can guarantee you that after about 20 plus years coaching youth sports and youth football, you must have this parent meeting and you must communicate effectively of what you want from your parents and players. Definitely, you want to tell the parents how they should act at games and practices, definitely based on what your league parent code of conduct is. I have my own, which is fairly strict. But one of my big things is no coaching from the sidelines. Don't be yelling in blitz to your son during a game when we're not blitzing. That happened to me in my first season in a playoff game. We lost that playoff game, mainly not just this one play, but definitely they scored a touchdown on this one play when the parent yelled their son to blitz in the middle, and that was not what we had called. So definitely let your parents know that they should not be coaching the kids at practices or games unless you've allowed that to occur. And unless they're on your coaching staff, I would highly recommend you do not let parents coach uh, on your sidelines or at games unless they are an approved coach. I always identify who's coached in the past, not just football, but other sports. Those parents will usually be some of the most vocal. Coaching is not so much about the sport per se, but really how you hold yourself and how organized you are, how detailed, and how much you know about the game. And coaches, parents that have coached before can smell you out if you are unprepared as a coach. So just be aware of that, especially if you have several on your, prior coaches on your team. The parent meeting before the first practice, I always like to get equipment kind of talked about, how it fits a player, go through that process with the parents, especially rookie parents or rookie players. They don't know how all that works. So this first parent meeting that's before your first practice, you can get all those little kinks worked out with player equipment and uniform issues and that sort of thing. The other thing that I like to tell you before the season and your parent meeting is please, this will cause huge problems going forward. If you've promised a certain player a position, a spot on your team, that can really get bad if you've promised a player to play quarterback and you just happen to recruit or get drafted or the league put a little John Elway Jr. or Peyton Manning on your team and now you've got a legit quarterback and you've made a promise. I don't know how many teams I've seen lose seasons because they've made promises and didn't play the better quarterback. If you're going to play daddy ball and your son's the quarterback and he's not legitimately a quarterback and you've got somebody else, just know this is going to come up in the future. So I'd be very wary of if your son is not a top end player, if he's playing a certain skill position. But definitely, do not make promises, and that's to your son, to your wife, to other parents, that a certain player is going to play a certain position until you've gone through tryouts and your whole red regime on your how you're picking players. That becomes a nightmare. Like I said earlier, I love to set expectations and be tough early with the parents in my parent meeting and my rules and code of conduct. That way, just everybody knows what the expectation is. I know you come across kind of maybe as a jerk when you set those hard and fast rules down, but at least everybody knows what you expect. There's no question. And make sure you reiterate that when you talk to parents if you do have a problem to check back on your code of conducts. The other thing is don't if you do smell out an issue or your team mom or other coaches and there's a big issue that's coming up, don't ignore it. These issues fester, and just at the wrong time do they pop up when you don't really want to deal with it, and it becomes a major problem and explodes. Either, it's right before a big game, or they contact the league because you just didn't address it. You can't be an ostrich and put your head in the sand and think everything's going to work out, because it never does. It just never does. You've got to deal with these issues. The other thing is set your expectations on play time, wins and losses, and what's happening there. If you have a mediocre team that you drafted, you could tell, don't set expectations that you're going to have a winning season. Don't say you're probably going to the Super Bowl if you know you're not. So don't overpromise. And also the playtime issue, make sure that whatever rules and regulations you set for play time, that it goes for your number one player to your 20th player, that those are the same set of rules. Because if you start, your number one player can miss every other practice and other players can't. And this player that misses and is tardy and absent is playing and starting in every game. The Boo Birds parents are going to come out, and they have a right to speak up about it. So you need to set your expectations and be aware of what's going on there. Um, if you have a player that's that you have high expectations for, played for you the season prior, or you know them and they've come in and you recruited them and they're just not meeting your expectations for whatever reason, grades, performance on the field, how do they interact with other players, you need to communicate that with the player and the parent. I usually I'll talk to the player for a while. If that's not going very well, I'll bring over the player and the parent and talk to them, and also talk to the parent and let them know what our expectations are and how we might be able to solve the situation. But just thinking it's going to solve itself on its own, we all know problems hardly ever just solve themselves on their own. So uh, make sure you address those parent communications and player communications. But really, being an ostrich, sticking your head in the sand and not having any parent communication, uh, it's really easy to have parent communication when everything's going great, everybody's happy. But you also, more importantly, have to have that conversation. Even more, over communicate when things aren't going well. And that'll save you a lot of headache with upset parents and parents communicating with the league around your back. And just keeping a happy parent group. Parents at the end of the day just want to know what's going on with their son and the team, and that everything has got a plan to move forward. So um, that's this presentation on this particular side, parent communication. I know I've got another slide coming up on it. I should have that done either tomorrow or the next day. Hope you enjoyed this talk regarding parent communication. Again, this is Coach Steve Parker at coachparker.org. Have a great day, and remember, play for fun, and winning is funner. Thank you.